comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. It's a Monday night. It's the price variance. I'm here with everybody's favorite Canadian, and we are looking at the hottest Silver Age sales of the week as curated by Allan from Heritage. Okay, Allan, and this week Allan is doing the big boy book. So we've got
Mhm.
none of your, you know, Flintstones and love comics that nobody's ever heard of. These are all your big boys, aren't they? Right. So
Yeah.
we covered
Because
five.
like actually if you look at last week, it was like all obscure books and it was like all records because it was just totally obscure. So this one is like, a little different.
They were all obscure last week, Alan.
You did have Amazing Fantasy last week,
We'd had an Amazing Fantasy 15, which isn't that obscure.
but there was like a lot of obscure ones on the list.
Okay,
That's my point.
there were. I'll give you that. Right. And we are looking at this one, showcase number 22.
Yep. First appearance of the Silver Age Green Lantern. And he's on the cover. Hal Jordan, just a great character. And they really set up a whole different dynamic for the Green Lantern. This is a very different than the Golden Age Green Lantern because it's now like um, it's beyond Earth. It's not just like the lantern in the Golden Age was like a magic like lantern. This is more of like a I don't know like a space like cosmic kind of element to it.
It's a cosmic thing, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just a cool book. One that this is one of the ones that I found a little harder to get in terms of like if you're going to go after big keys, this is one of the ones that's a little scarcer in order to find it. Um, yeah,
Somebody's written 8 hyphen
I
10.
know it's like those silly, annoying date stamps, or like some people like the date stamps, but that's like that grease pen that people would do. I really don't like the grease pen.
No. Right. So they've given this a 5.0, which will have taken into account that writing on the cover.
Mhm.
So what do you think, Alan? This he sold for 4,320 for a 5.0.
That seems really down. Like I remember this book going for about $1,000 a point.
Oh, okay.
So this seems very low to me.
And you are correct. Yes, because this sold for 4.3. The last one sold 4 months ago for 5.9. So
Yeah, which is that $5,000 a point.
yeah.
$5,000 a point, I mean.
Yeah.
Um,
So this is down.
yeah. And it's this one though really has a crazy trend line. It's again, like when books don't sell that often, you don't get that nice kind of obvious trend line.
This sold 3 times in 2024.
Yeah, but my point is like that's not that frequent for a Silver Age comic. Like you compare
It
again,
sold once, twice, three, four, five, 6 times in 2023. So it's not that it's
yeah.
is that sell, one or two a year.
How many times does Amazing Fantasy sell?
Oh, a lot more, but
See, that's what I'm saying. Like it's like the trend lines aren't really that well established. Once you get all the kind of ups and downs, it kind of gets a nice line sorted out a little bit better.
yeah, I mean, this is
More,
effectively the same price it was 8 or 9 years ago.
that's terrible. Um, and there's only 1,400, almost 1,500 on the census.
Yeah, it's not a hugely there's not a huge number of them.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? This book should be doing well right now. Like this is like the spec time for this book.
Mm, maybe. Well,
Because like there is going to be a Green Lantern show come out, right?
I'm not sure about that. You told me that, and I would imagine that.
Like it was supposed to be some kind of detective-y style show.
Yes, I think I heard the same thing. I think you're right, and
Um,
we're getting
but
we're
I don't
getting
know if it's been
getting
delayed,
We're getting Green Lantern in the Superman movie, aren't
but
we?
it's a different Green Lantern.
Yeah, but it's a Green Lantern.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so this book, there should be some speculation around it.
Well, there
You'd
is.
think it would go up, right?
Yeah, I wonder if I wonder if we've come to the end of movie speculation. Uh,
I don't think so. When the James Gunn Superman trailer dropped, all of a sudden there was a huge spike in like crypto covers,
oh
you
right, yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And when what was the other one that dropped that
No, no,
caused a bit of a
I've seen Lobo pick up as well.
exactly Lobo's another one. So I think there is that desire, but the problem with the Green Lantern one was I think it was actually supposed to come out like 2 years ago. And things where they get like almost like this production hell where they take forever to come out
Yeah.
in a weird way might actually kind of work against the comics where people they're like, oh, okay, maybe it's not going to come out, and they lose all hope. And all we need is a trailer to drop, and then that will shift.
Okay.
You know, so
Well,
I think this one has
this,
potential.
this one is in the doldrums at the moment.
Yes, yeah, it's not performing that well.
Right, moving on to our second comic. It's another classic. This is
Yeah,
the first appearance of Iron Man.
Tales of Suspense 39. Such a great book. And I think I'm just trying to remember the pricing that I kind of have in my head for this. Like, this seems like actually a reasonable sale. I think it was like 2 to 3 thousand a point was what I always remember.
It's a nice looking copy, this, Alan.
Yeah, it is. Does it have double quotes?
It's got near, no, not quite.
No. And then the other thing to look at is the bottom of the table at the very bottom of the page. Yeah, so in the really good copies, there is a bit of blue.
Okay, right. So this is not beautifully centered.
Hmm.
It's a 5.0 though. It's a very nice looking copy. 10,000 for a 5.0. It's up a
Seems
bit.
okay. Seems okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's
A
okay.
little bit of a bounce up.
A little bit of a bounce, a dead cat bounce. Um,
What was it pre-COVID?
Pre-COVID, it was at 9.
Okay, so it's kind of, gone up 10%.
Yeah,
It's not that bad.
no,
It's not like nothing, it's nothing to write home about, but it
no,
is definitely
no. Yeah, it's bobbling along. It's like a number of these we've looked at this week. I would describe them as bobbling along. Uh,
yeah,
they're not dropping significantly lower. They're not going particularly higher. They're just sort of floating along.
yeah. So I mean this one uh, you know, uh again, it's a character that in a weird way it should be going down because the character's dead in the movies. But it seems like, it's one of those characters that people love and they will continue to love and it will continue
I
to
mean,
go up in value.
people. It's not as if the movies have gone away. They're
Yeah,
still
yeah, yeah.
there. People watch them. People like Iron Man. The films are good. The actor's good. I mean, he's going to continue to have a following.
You know, I I know this might sound like heresy, but I really think that they should reboot and just say, okay, like let's not continue the current
There's his boot,
uh
Alan. I can see his boot. We can get him to reboot that boot on.
yeah, well, yeah, but my point is like get new actors and kind of forget all of the others, like all the continuity that they created in the movies and say, okay, we're going to start with a new storyline. We're going to just, that's what they should do, but I don't think they'll do it. But I think that's what they should do.
What, just retell the same stories?
No, no, no. Tell new stories with these like well-established characters, just but with different actors and just say, like when they did Fantastic Four, like the for the 50th time, they did do that, where they sort of rebooted it in a different way, right?
Yeah, and that was a huge
Um,
success.
well, I'm not saying do it the Fantastic Four way, but I'm saying that idea of relaunching, like Spider-Man is a better example actually, where they rebooted it. They even had different love interests. Like
I
they
mean, they've done it
focused
with
on.
Batman. Batman's been done successfully as well.
Yeah, so there's ways of doing it where you don't have to have all the baggage. Like Infinity War really gave a lot of baggage to the whole MCU. Explaining like half the planet being wiped out is kind of really hard. It's like, oh, oops, sorry, half of you guys were dead for a few years. Uh, what crazy things that does to the whole planet is. So just ignoring that for a little bit and just creating new stories would be the way to go.
Okay, it wouldn't be what I would. I think there's other stories out there to be told, but
That's
rather,
what I'm saying. Like there's better stuff. You just don't baggage yourself with all that stuff.
yeah. Right. Okay. Next up, it's another big boy. It's X-Men 1,
This one would seem like a low sale to me. I
10,000.
I'm pretty sure that this is more like $3,000 to $4,000 a point book.
Right.
I,
Okay.
I I would have expected this to be more like the 20K kind of level.
Oh, you're right. It is low.
Mm.
Well, it's actually, to be fair,
Actually, they're saying it's like right on fair market value, but
yeah. Well, the last three sales have been 10-1, 10-2, 10-5,
so
and
it's on the floor at this point.
and yeah, and yeah. So sorry. What am I doing?
Looking at the
Yeah,
right ones. Okay.
and 10-5. Yeah, so it's actually higher than the previous two sales.
Yeah. But I just remember how much this book had gone up. It's like, maybe I'm still have that COVID numbers in my mind. Like probably it's like 20 or 30K at that point.
Yeah, well, for about a period of from March 2021 through to September 2022. So for 18 months, this was a $20,000 comic.
Yeah, I remember those numbers. So those numbers are kind of in my mind. So when I see 10,000, I think, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's not like this was an individual spike. It was above $20,000 for 18 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is sort of like maybe slightly below pre-COVID. What's pre-COVID price?
12.6. It is below pre-COVID. Yes, this is
Yeah.
below pre-COVID. Yeah.
So that's not a good sign.
No.
So yeah. So I mean, to me, this is very weak sale. It's sure it's on the floor right now, but it is definitely below the previous floor.
Yeah.
But
It's not.
and actually, if you look at the trend line before COVID, it actually had a fairly strong like positive trend line.
Yeah. And if you draw it, it's gone down.
Yeah.
If, in fact, if you take the point at the start of that trend line and draw it through to the point we're currently at, that is a more reasonable trend.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it looks like if you go way back historically
Yeah, if
to
you
$2,000,
go back to sort of here, to 20,
yeah, and then just follow it, it would
and then
actually
go
end
to
up where we are now.
2017 at 4,300,
And then here it would make
8 years
sense.
later at 10,000, it's gone up from 5,000 to 10,000 over 7 years, which is not bad.
Yeah, actually, that's right where you want it to be
Yeah,
for a blue chip.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, so interesting one. Now the census count on this one's quite high, if I
It is
remember correctly. I think it's like 6,000.
6.5.
Yeah. So yeah, such a major book though. First appearance of like the whole X-Men team, the major
Yeah,
characters like Beast, Jean Grey, Magneto, the enemy bad guy, Iceman and Angel and Phoenix. So just a such a major book and also Professor X.
yeah. Well, Marvel Girl.
No, Professor X.
Yeah, you
Um
said Phoenix, Marvel Girl.
no, 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 no. Professor X is the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, before that, you said Phoenix.
Uh I did I say Phoenix? I meant Angel. I said Angel, I thought.
Okay, no, it's all right. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And Jean Grey is Marvel Girl at this point,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Right. Fantastic Four number one in a 3.5. What a great looking book. This looks really
I
nice.
know. This is a cool one. Actually, really not too bad colors and
Why is
everything.
this
So
a 3.5? Look at this, Alan. It's really nice.
yeah, very solid copy. I
It's,
mean, maybe there's
it's
something weird
bottom.
about this one. It's
Bottom.
got a bit of bottom issues there, like in that corner.
It's quite a
Some
lot of
chew.
chipping on the bottom edge.
Yeah, but and the spine, if you really
Oh,
examine
yeah.
it, it's got some issues.
Spine has got some issues. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It presents really nicely though.
Yeah. The center of the comic is good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Such a great comic. I love this one.
A nice presenting 3.5 that.
Yeah.
And how much did it sell for? 12.6. Um,
Yeah.
Black again?
Seems a little low to me, but
What was it? A 3.5? Yeah, it probably is a bit low. Yeah,
actually, yeah.
yeah, it
They
is.
always just use FMV
Yeah,
as the
they haven't
last
drawn
sale
this on the graph yet. So it's actually down
from the previous sale.
previous sale, which was only 7 days previously. This sold for 14,400. And then 1 week later, it sold for $1,800 less.
Yeah.
Same platform.
Yeah. So usually I think that's, that's the effect of probably those two people both wanted the same like same grade and they fought it out on the first one. And then 7 days later, well, one of them had already gotten it, so it was a little easier for the second guy.
One got it cheaper,
Yeah.
quite a lot
So
cheaper.
patience does help.
Yeah, I think somebody's got that at a good price.
So yeah,
There are
so
3,000 of these on the census, Alan.
yeah, such a major book. Fantastic Four first appearance, key book for, rebooting the Marvel franchise.
Yeah,
This is such a major book.
yeah,
Yeah, it is what it is. I always see these ones as a little bit of a disappointment because like I kind of would hope that they would be a little bit more steady. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't drop so much, but it is what it is.
yeah.
Still above pre-COVID, I think, right?
Um, well, I've got a September 2020 price. That's not pre-COVID, is it? I've got a December 2019 price of 10.3.
That
So yes,
barely above pre-COVID.
barely above COVID. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. Um that's yeah, it is what it is. Not really performing that well.
No.
But if you look at the trend line historically, this is well like we almost should use that as the basis
Yeah, I mean,
where
yes, if you take the from here 2017 again and draw it up to that, 2017 it's six.
actually it performed it would actually be a better
Yeah,
um
it's gone from
trend line.
5,000 to 13,000 over 8 years. So that's a pretty good performance.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've got to take all these things,
into account.
I think it's you're not going to be upset if you bought this in 2017 for $5,000 and it's now worth 10, it's now worth 12. You've got 120% return on your investment. I think you're quite happy.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The fact that you could have sold it for 36,600, you just have to clear your mind of that thought.
Oops. It's when knowing when to sell. Um, yeah. But I mean, still, yeah, overall, like, this is why, a lot of these blue chips, it's about holding them long term.
Yeah,
This all balances out in the if you hold them long term.
it does. Yeah, it's like stocks and shares in the long term go up.
Hmm.
Housing, property goes up long term. It's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So let's see. The number one.
Oh, well, quelle surprise. It is
Yeah.
Amazing Fantasy 15, Alan.
So I was predicting a price of this one for 35 based on the sales that I had seen recently.
Okay. So
So
you were
this is above my prediction.
yes, and I think this is actually the most buoyant of the sales of this week.
Hmm.
This 4.5 sold for 38,400. I think Alan's prediction of 35, based on the current performance, is about right. So I
Yeah.
think this one bucks the trend. If we go and look at the
It's
graph,
a very nice presenting 4-5, by the way.
it is a nice presenting 4.5. But you'll see here that that 38,000, which isn't on this graph yet,
And look at the FMV, it's 32.
the FMV is 34,800.
There, FMV isn't it, doesn't that say 32?
No, it says 30, 34.
The other green one, the green one.
The green one. Oh, this one. Oh, yeah, that does. Yeah, but I prefer the 30-day average and the 90-day average.
Oh, okay. So what I was saying at 35 was probably pretty good guess.
Spot on what the 30-day average is.
Yeah, because I sort of advised somebody on this one. I was like, oh, I think it should go for around that 35,000 mark.
Yeah, no, 38 is a good price for this. Um, yeah. Uh,
A
so
little bit of a bounce up. What was the pre-COVID price on this one? I'm just curious.
oof.
33.
Well,
Oh,
I mean, I could claim this price here. September 2018 of 48,000 was
no,
pre-code.
but that's the purple. You got to look at the blue. I know it's annoying where we look at the inflation,
Not,
not inflation.
not that much different. 38,950.
So it's basically same. It's it's same as its pre-COVID price.
Yeah.
It's,
But that is a significantly stronger sale than the previous few.
yeah, I mean, in a way, this book I think has room to recover a little bit because people were getting annoyed with the fact that every time they would sell it, they would lose money. And I think there was like a little bit of a shortage there for a while where people just wouldn't bother selling it because they just didn't want to take a loss.
Well, yes. I mean, anybody who's selling who'd bought in the last 3 or 4 years is going to be losing money.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So my point is like there was a few weeks where we didn't have this book on the list because it wasn't available, like there was no sales.
Oh, and there was me thinking you were just being nice to me.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I was just being nice to you. But the point is I don't think people were selling it.
No, I know.
And
You said at the time. Yeah, it's interesting because
yeah, so I think that kind of helped this book a little bit because, when there's a bit of a shortage.
yeah,
But
I mean, yeah, basically, if you'd bought this book any time in the last 5 or 6 years, you've been losing money on it recently.
yeah, I think the thing that hurt this book or made it go up kind of crazily was not actually even COVID. It was really that one big sale, that $3.6 million sale, where all of a sudden, oh, Amazing Fantasy is the most expensive comic of all time. At the for a brief amount of time, it was the most expensive comic.
But that was during COVID.
It was like very start of COVID though. It was like really early on in COVID, and like it was just sort of a shocking sale that made all of the lower grades go crazy
Yeah.
because I think people had real major FOMO because this is one book that if you're a Spider-Man collector, you want this book. This is the book to have.
Yeah, I mean, they're
And
not rare. The
they're
4,000
not rare, but everyone wants it. It's rare based
supply
on
and
the
demand. Yeah, in terms
yeah,
of supply and demand, yeah, there's probably more than 4,000 Spider-Man collectors out there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, this is definitely one of those books that I think benefited from that one big sale.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I think that's true.
yeah, but definitely not a strong one. This is not a. This is yeah. It's overall. I'd like to see what would happen if that same $3.6 million book came up again,
It wouldn't
how
it wouldn't sell for 3.6 million.
like I actually thought at the time, and I think I commented that at the time that I didn't think it was worth that much. I really felt it was maybe a $2 million book, not a $3 million book. And that was kind of an unpopular opinion at the time. But I think what happened was you got a consortium that said, hey, we want to invest in a big book, and they were willing to pay up for it.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to sell it either. If you're sitting on that and it's on your assets at 3.5 million, if you don't need
Yeah,
to sell it, you're not going to sell it.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you sell it, your assets are just suddenly worth 1.5 million less.
yeah. And you can just hold it and make it look
Hold
like
it.
you're,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So I
Well,
think that
I
was,
don't think you'll see that come back up for sale again.
well, it might, it might. If they sell it now, they would be incredibly dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it might come up in a few years because they do have to. I think there is like an obligation, to have those sales within. I don't know how those consortiums work per se, but I think there would be a bit of thing where they do have to kind of provide a dividend, and the only way you can provide a dividend is through sales, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a scary sale, I imagine. I mean, I think they did the same with Superman 1. I think there was a huge sale for Superman 1, and then a year later it sold for $1 million less. I think it was the same kind of situation where they thought it would just, would be a good return on investment, but no. Oh well.
No.
So yeah.
Right. I think that's it for this week, Alan. Thank you very much
Mhm.
for showing us all those big comics. We'll be back next week with another review of the Silver Age market, and hopefully we can get back to some more Pebbles and Bam Bam and Love Romance issue 73. Okay. So, bye, Alan.
But